Fault in Our Stars. Rated PG-13.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the two films that make up June 6, 2014. And our first movie that we have here is The Fault in Our Stars, which is the film that became the big success, and everyone thought that John Green was going to be the next Nicholas Sparks, taking whatever book he was working on and make it into a movie, and it's going to be an instant hit. I mean, it's going to be the next big thing. Well, we found out a year later with Paper Towns that, yeah, that really wasn't the case overall. Although I really like Paper Towns, and I did like this movie a lot. You have Charlotte Woodley and Anson Elgort, who star in this movie. She's a 16-year-old cancer patient who is forced by her parents to attend a support group, where she meets and subsequently falls in love with another cancer patient played by Elgort. You also have a cast that includes Laura Dern, Nat Wolff, and Willem Dafoe in the cast. It's directed by Josh Boone, who would later go on to direct The New Mutants, which kind of killed his career overall, but he did come back recently with Regretting You, which did become a hit overall. I haven't seen it, but I have no real intentions to. But, yeah, overall, this is a pretty good movie overall. It's a good movie that works because these two actors really do work off each other very well. You know, Anson Elgort's career kind of got destroyed because of some stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But it's a shame because the guy really was somebody who was really on his way to becoming something really great with this, and he was also in the Divergent films as well with Woodley, and he was also in Baby Driver, which he wasn't the worst thing about that movie, even though I really did not like Baby Driver all that much, but West Side Story I think is his magnum opus overall. I think that's his best film overall, but yeah, he's been relatively quiet since then. Nobody will really hire him after what happened with, you know, the sexual assault allegations that happened around COVID time, but it's a shame, man, because the guy really was on his way to having a bright future overall as an actor, and just that kind of killed it overall. And he really does work well with Woodley in this movie. You do buy the relationship overall. It's a little sappy for its own good, but then again, a movie like The Notebook works, even though that's incredibly sappy, and it works because your two leading actors were really good in that film. And yeah, the two leading actors in this are very good as well. They work off each other very well, and it plays out very well in general here. It's a good movie. It's a very entertaining film overall. Is it a classic? No, not really. And I think it mostly appeals to the target audience of the book itself. And I think those are the ones who are really going to get a kick out of it more. I like it for what it was. Nothing really spectacular, nothing really amazing, but it is what it is. The Fault in Our Stars is a pretty solid film. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, a film that was, you know, we talked about A Million Ways to Die in the West getting kind of killed by its marketing, by revealing some of the best stuff. Take a look at this next movie here, and you'll talk about a movie that was severely destroyed by its marketing. Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt in Doug Liman's Edge of Tomorrow.
You get smarter. You have to finish this one.
Edge of Tomorrow. Rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX 3D.
So let's start off talking about this movie by talking about the marketing controversy for this, because this was originally based on a novel called All You Need Is Kill. And then they made the movie with that, and then after the filming ended, Warner Brothers changed the title to Edge of Tomorrow because the president of Warner Brothers at the time said the title was changed partly due to negative chatter about the word kill in the title. And Doug Liman basically changed it because it didn't feel like it was the tone of the movie he had just made, and wanted to rename it Live, Die, and Repeat, but they just used that as a tagline. And even the producer, Erwin Stoff, said, I think the word kill in a title is very tricky in today's world. I don't know that people want to be bombarded with that word. I don't know that people want to be opening the newspaper and seeing that word. We see it enough in kind of real newspaper headlines, and I don't think we need to see it when we're looking at a movie. The word kill in a title is very tricky in today's world. Okay. Kill Bill, Killing Eve, A Time to Kill, They Will Kill You, How to Make a Killing, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Killing, Why Women Kill, To Kill a Mockingbird, Boy Kills World, Generation Kill, Fuck, Marry, Kill, Killing Faith, 30 Days to Kill, Sim City, A Dame to Kill For, Dress to Kill, you know, The Killing Fields, License to Kill, A View to a Kill, Kill Your Darlings, Righteous Kill. Have you gotten the point yet? I think we are more than okay with the word kill in a title for a movie. Like, that is one of the stupidest arguments I have ever heard in my life. And I just listened to, you know, the whole thing with the Buffalo Bills and Terry Pagula trying to defend Brandon Beane's decision-making by making up straight-up lies of the fact that Keon Coleman was not a choice by him, even though there's literal footage out there of that. That's for another video, though. If you want to go check that out, check out over on the Reviewing Network Live for that one. But The bottom line here is that they really fucked up the marketing for this movie to the point where when this movie came out on Blu-ray, they decided to rename it Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. And then when it got released in 4K a few years later, went back to Edge of Tomorrow. Like, they butchered this movie's title so badly that the box office for this movie was one of the biggest, unfortunately a big failure overall, and it brought in about 300, it brought back, once worldwide numbers were brought back into it, $370 million, over $178 million budget. So it did make its budget back overall afterwards, and surely with the success that it had on home media afterward, it made its money back in general. But the whole controversy about the title was just really fucking stupid, man. Especially for a movie that is not only one of my favorite movies of the year, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. So in it, an alien race has hit the Earth in an unrelenting assault unbeatable by any military unit in the world. Major William Cage, played by Tom Cruise, is an officer who has never seen a day of combat when he is unceremoniously dropped into what amounts to a suicide mission. Killed within minutes, Cage now finds himself inexplicably thrown into a time loop, forcing him to live out the same brutal combat over and over, fighting and dying again and again. But with each battle, Cage becomes able to engage the adversaries with increasing skills, alongside Special Forces warrior Rita Vitowski, played by Emily Blunt. And as Cage and Vitowski take the fight to the aliens, each repeated encounter gets them one step closer to defeating the enemy. So, like I said, this is based off of a Japanese graphic novel called All You Need Is Kill, and it's directed by Doug Liman, who at this point had not made a real bad movie in his career. I mean, Jumper was probably his worst film, but even then, it wasn't a bad movie overall. It was just a film that was just kind of like, had a good idea, but the execution just didn't work overall. But, I mean, this was an incredible fun movie. I remember seeing this for the first time and thinking to myself, this is one of the most fun experiences I've had in a movie in a long, long time. I really dug the hell out of this movie. It got everything going for it, and it takes every opportunity to give us really good entertainment value. And Tom Cruise gives a really solid performance in this movie. This is not only just Cruise's great action style of acting, but he allows himself for great comedic moments as well, which we'll touch on that in a second. And I loved Emily Blunt as Rita Vitowski. I mean, she's a badass character that also looks sexy as hell. I mean, that scene where she's doing, like, I think she was doing push-ups, and then she slowly but surely gets up with the arch and all that. I mean, that's a scene that's just etched in my memory banks since I've seen it. And I think it's etched in a lot of memory banks to a lot of people when they saw that film. But the script does a very good job of giving her a lot of good character development and also making the character her own character. She isn't the stereotypical action heroine. They actually give her a lot of development to make her probably my favorite female character since Katniss in the Hunger Games movies. I mean, that's how good she really is. She is up there with some of the best female characters ever put on the screen, right up there with Ripley from Aliens and so many other ones I could mention. The supporting cast is good too, but they're not really given a whole lot to do. Like, Brendan Gleeson is the corrupt general who clearly doesn't like Tom Cruise because he's a journalist who completely badmouths him. It's just like, okay, bitch, you're going out there to die. And it's just like, Bill Paxton is the asshole drill sergeant, but at least he is funny and is funny enough to get a lot of good moments in here. The action scenes in this are shot spectacularly. You can see everything that's going on, even if the scenes are shot in the dark, especially that last action scene with the helicopter. I always go back to the climax of Patriot Games that takes place in the storm, and it's nighttime, and you see rain and thunder and lightning going on, and you can still see what's going on. It's one of the best action sequences I've ever seen, and you can definitely see a lot of that in this movie. I love how they shot it. They did a great job shooting that scene. The alien creatures look good too. I mean, they gave us a cool looking creature designs for these mimics that we hadn't seen done before, especially with the way they move around in the film. I thought that was intensely entertaining to see. And like I said, it manages to find a way to mix in not just action and drama, but some pretty dark comedic elements to it. I mean, literally the first half of the movie is an action comedy for the most part, with the consistent ways that Cruise keeps dying in the beginning. I mean, it's like if they took that scene from Groundhog Day where Phil Connors is killing himself because he just wants out of this and basically taking it to the next level and beyond. And like, the Groundhog Day was played straight for seriousness. This is played up for laughs, and it's legitimately funny as hell to watch. And then, as the second half of the film comes along and becomes more and more serious, it's very smart in turning the tide and making this serious as it needs to be, as there is a big tonal shift that's necessary when this power that Tom Cruise has given is taken away from him. So the next time he dies, that's it. He's gonna die, period, after this. And it works to give what the film is trying to give us here. A nice little twist of faith overall. And like I said, it's very much like Groundhog Day, where you have Tom Cruise starts falling into what Bill Murray did in Groundhog Day. He starts off wondering what the hell's going on, repeating the same day again. The next day, he's repeating the day that he repeats the day that he's frantic and wants to get this over with. Everyone around him looks at him like he's crazy, and the next couple of days are comedic. A few more days out, the tone switches to a more dramatic tone. And then the last days, he realizes everything he needs to do right to get things back to some normalcy. Now, there was a little bit of a controversy about the ending of the movie and how some of it saw it as a cop-out. And I'll just say this. If you don't know what happened, the film ends with Rita and Cage crashing into the Louvre, with Rita being killed by an Alpha and Cage swimming downwards to win the day by dropping grenades into the Omega. When the Omega is killed, all the other mimics perish around with it. However, underneath the water, some tentacle alien blood reaches up and latches onto Cage, and we see him reanimate for an instant before all of a sudden he wakes up in the past again, only this time it's even further back than he's used to. However, he's not just reset the day to an earlier point in time, but an earlier point in time in which the mimics are still dead. Cage finds Rita and the two meet perhaps for the first time, and the film cuts to the credits. Now, around the time, David Shan at SlashFilm.com thought what they did made the wet ending worse, saying that it didn't make any sense, took away all the stakes that the film had, and struck the wrong tone. I mean, I could see people buying into that, but I like the way they handled it, and I say that for a couple of reasons. One, it does make sense, sort of. Cruise has to go into the water to destroy the Omega, and as the film had established in the beginning, if you get alien blood on you, you instantly have this power to repeat the day. It does make sense because that's what the film establishes early on, and that's how we've gotten to this point in the film. And as far as how when he gets the stuff on him, he's back on the helicopter from the very beginning of the film, I can see why it's not making a whole lot of sense. Two, it's not a cop-out. The film kept its own rules intact when they did with that ending. There was nothing in there that suggested that the film was copping out. I mean, you want to talk about a bad cop-out. One of my least favorite movies of all time, North, is one of the biggest cop-outs ever, if not the worst. You have this movie focusing on North wanting to divorce his parents and get new parents with all these fucked up stereotypes, and the result is nothing but a lousy dream from North who falls asleep in the mall after talking to the Bruce Willis character. 90 minutes of my life wasted on this movie. Hell, Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 is second with that badass fight scene that only ends up being a vision, meaning that everything those films building up was to nothing at all. So, yeah, don't tell me this is a cop-out ending, because there was nothing that was done differently from what the film established in the beginning and that was done for the ending. And three, and most importantly, it completely killed the idea for a sequel. It's a story that doesn't need to continue in another film. It has a definitive ending. It doesn't end on a note of sequel baiting. It ends on its own merits to the point where nothing else could happen at this point that would require a sequel to be made. And I'm glad they didn't make a sequel to this, because I feel like if they did, they would have kind of butchered it overall. But they are making a Japanese anime All You Need Is Kill movie, which should be coming out pretty soon if I'm not mistaken. I think it's coming out this month, actually. I have to check and see, but the whole bottom line is that Edge of Tomorrow is a fucking amazing movie, man. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a great, great film with a ton of great action, great drama, great visuals, surprisingly good comedy, a good cast that works very well with the material given, and it really was an amazing feeling watching that movie for the first time. And it's just like, what a great movie, man. What a great, great film. Edge of Tomorrow, I can't recommend this puppy enough. If you haven't seen it already, see Edge of Tomorrow. But at this point, you probably should have seen it by now. But if you haven't, get your ass off there and go see Edge of Tomorrow. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Now, the next time we meet, we have two big sequels coming out. One is a big comedy sequel, Phil Lord and Chris Miller with their second big hit of the year. 22 Jump Street, the sequel to 21 Jump Street with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill once again. And then we also have one of the best animated sequels of all time, from one of the best trilogies of all time, How to Train Your Dragon 2 from DreamWorks. It's been 4 years since the last How to Train Your Dragon movie, and everyone was wondering what they were going to do with the sequel, and they gave us probably easily the best sequels than Shrek 2, if not better than Shrek 2, in my opinion. But I take that back. Kung Fu Panda 2 is still better than Shrek 2 to me, but still, it's one of their best sequels overall. But we'll take a look at both of those movies coming up tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. Check out our playlist and check out the previous episode we did. You got the point. Whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.